Welcome to video 7 of homework 4. We're going to take a look at the last 4 questions on your homework. Number 29. If I try direct substitution, I'll get a 0 on the bottom, on the denominator, which is undefined, so that gives me indeterminate form. Direct substitution won't work, so I'm going to try using a conjugate. In this case, the conjugate would be the square root of x plus 8 plus 3. If I multiply the top, I have to multiply the bottom. The top I can simplify. Square root of x plus 8 times square root of x plus 8 equals x plus 8. I don't have to worry about FOIL because it's a conjugate. So I'm using the difference of squares pattern, so I only have to multiply the first terms and the last terms. So I have negative 9 here. The bottom half, the denominator, I can't do anything with, so I just leave it kind of ugly. Now in the numerator, I'm going to have x minus 1 to match up with that x minus 1 in the denominator. So I'll be able to cancel. I leave a 1 in the numerator to remind myself that this belongs in the denominator. And now I can use substitution. So I can say square root of 1 plus 8 plus 3 is the square root of 9 plus 3, which is 1 over 6. So direct substitution didn't work. I used a conjugate, which means I leave the terms the same, but I change the sign. Then I multiply through, simplify as much as I can. Then I can go ahead and substitute. Let's try on number 30. Alright, if I were to plug in using direct substitution, I would have 3 minus 3, or 0, in the denominator, which means I'd have indeterminate form, meaning direct substitution won't work. In this case, since I have an x squared, I'm going to try and do factoring. So I need two numbers that add up to 1 and multiply to negative 12. So I need two numbers that multiply to 12 that are 1 apart from each other. So that's going to be x plus 4, x minus 3. If you're still struggling with factoring, the only way to get faster at it is to do more of it. So come and see me and I can give you some extra practice for factoring. It'll be worth it. So in this case, the x minus 3's cancel, and I'm left with x plus 4. Since it's in the numerator, I don't need the 1 placeholder. So I can just leave it as x plus 4. Now I can substitute, and that becomes 3 plus 4, or 7. Let's take a look at number 31. 31, I try to plug in the negative 2 for direct substitution. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Can't divide by 0, that's indeterminate. So I'm going to have to try something else. Since I see an x squared, I'm going to factor. X squared minus 4 is going to be a difference of squares. Since both things I can take the square root of, and there's a negative in the middle. So as I factor, I'll get x plus 2, x minus 2, over x plus 2. Now I can cancel the x plus 2, and all I'll have is x minus 2. Now I can plug in the negative 2, and I'll have negative 2 minus 2 equals negative 4. Last but not least, number 32. Be careful, there's a negative in the front here. So I'm going to proceed as normal, as if it wasn't there, but I'm going to add it on back at the end. Alright, so let's try direct substitution. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. Minus negative 1 is positive 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. The denominator would be 0, so that's indeterminate form. I can't use direct substitution. I'm going to try factoring. As I factor, I'm going to leave the negative out in front. I don't want to deal with that. Two numbers that add up to -1 and multiply to -2. So the signs are different, so I'm going to have x minus 2, x plus 1. Again, if you're having trouble with factoring, come see me and we can just work on factoring. Now in this case, I need to put a 1 in the numerator as a placeholder after I cancel. So I'll have -1 over x minus 2. Now I can plug in for x, and I'll have negative of 1 over -1 minus 2. It's negative of 1 over -3. Two negatives make it a positive, so my answer is 1/3. All right, I hope this helped. We'll take a look in class, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.